the stereotypical view of wheelchair basketball would be lots of disabled people. If more people knew that it was a sport for able-bodied and disabled people, then it would be, I think it would be generally more accepted.
It's been great really, because obviously the huge social aspect of it being a team sport. It's great because you can meet people with like similar sort of things, and then so you know people like really similar to you, and it's just nice to have that really, as opposed to being like in a team, the only disabled person in a sport team. It's quite nice to have people with similar conditions.
In the recent Paralympics, that really raised awareness for the sport.
Physically, it's made me stronger.
I think some people think that because it's disability sport, if you're able-bodied, it would be sort of taking away from this disability. It's not like that. Anyone can come and have a go.
I got involved with wheelchair basketball kind of by accident. I heard that the club was starting up, and then after a few months I was invited to the Warriors, and the rest is history really. The rules are mainly the same, but there are certain allowances made for the chairs. The baskets are the same height, all the line markings are the same. There's just slight differences in fouls and things like that. Each player, when they play in competition, is given a point value between 1, which is very severe, and 5, which is able-bodied. And at any one time, the 5 people on court for a team may only add up to 14.5 points. So you couldn't have 5-point players on court, because that would be 25 points, which is more than 14.5. And that allows for a mixture of more severe low-point players and more able higher-point players on court at any one time. I'm a 1-point player. I have cerebral palsy, so I'm the most quote-unquote severe you can be playing wheelchair basketball.
Hi, I'm Kaz Ballardis and I'm a forward with the Celtic Warriors. I was at university in Chester quite a few years ago now, and I ruptured my ACL ligament in my knee playing rugby. But I happened to be, as part of my sports degree I was working in the Students' Union and student guidance, and met Anna. And she said, why don't you come along and have a go at wheelchair basketball? So came down, started playing wheelchair basketball, loved it, found I was quite good at it. So I was never any good at the running game, couldn't do the running game at all, couldn't get my feet and the hands in the right place. It's non-contact, but it is physical. You fall out, you do hurt yourself, you catch things, it's definitely an active sport, certainly not sedentary. It's a sport that's open to everyone. I think that is a misconception. Anybody can play, and anyone can play in the league team, whether you have any disability, no disability, or an injury, or even recovering from an injury. I suppose I came in not knowing much about disability, and I've learned an awful lot about actually what people can do, and about what our world, what our society, the barriers that are in place that stop people doing it, and how you can get around that. So in that respect, in my work I run a disability support group for people in my work. I've learned quite a lot. I've worked with Anna doing some education classes, so it's certainly affected and had an impact on most of my life, not just my sporting life. The club gives you opportunity to meet people as well. It's social aspect. It's certainly given me an outlook on life that I don't think I'd have had if I hadn't have played wheelchair basketball.
My name's Anna Jackson. I'm the club captain at Celtic Warriors Wheelchair Basketball Club. I've been a captain for the last couple of years here. My position is, kind of a forward on the court, but as I start to shrink, I'm playing more of a bit of a guard and forward role, so doing a bit of both at the moment, which is nice. I found out about the sport. I'm an ex-hockey player and tennis player, and I met a sports development officer who played wheelchair basketball, and he said to me, "Oh, come along, have a go." And I did what I think a lot of people do, which is sort sort of a bit surprised that you can play if you can still walk as well, having only got a problem with one knee. But he said, no, come and play, come and have a go. And that's how I got into it really in 1997. That was a club based in Chester at the time, and we've sort of moved on name-wise and player-wise over the last sort of 15, 20 years. And I mean, Celtic Warriors has been here, I think, 8 years now. And we're just starting to build it all back up again and get new people playing the game. I'm a 4.5 point player, which means I've got a problem with one leg. So it has to be a permanent medical condition that you can't sort of get better by physio or exercise. I made a mess of my knee when I was in school, had 9 lots of surgery on it, and hasn't really got any better. So I can walk better some days than others, but I couldn't play basketball on foot. I couldn't run, jump and pivot like you can on if you play the running game. So that classifies me as a 4.5 point player. Partly I don't think my knees were made right, and then I decided to play hockey, which is probably the fatal flaw. So a few too many injuries while I was playing hockey. So I think the combination of the two things. Wheelchair basketball can be played by people without a disability. When you've got 5 players on court, you have a mix of players, and you can have one able-bodied player playing at a time. And what we try and say to people is just see the chairs as a piece of sports kit. It's not, oh, I've got something wrong with me, I'm going to use a wheelchair kind of thing. It's just a piece of sports kit. So at the club we've got a mix of players with no disability at all, down to players with quite a high level of disability, and you have to have that mix to be able to get your team on court in league games. But able-bodied players can play at club level. You can't play at international level unless you've got a minimal disability, so unless you're 4.5 or below. But it does mean it's a sport for anybody, and we're trying desperately to get that message across that it's a sport. If you've got a disability, that's a bit of a bonus, but it's about people on wheels playing the sport, and I think when you watch it's such an exciting game to watch, but it's really hard to get over that misconception that it's only for players with disabilities. It's for everybody, and I think the beauty of it is you've got players with and without disabilities playing, you've got men and women, girls and boys playing together, you've got a real mix, and the way the governing body rules work mean you can all play together, and I love that about it. I think it's great because you get a real mix then, and once people see it, they're hooked and they love it. It's just getting them to see it for the first time or have a go for the first time.
I think I'd just say come and have a go. I think a lot of people think they either can't do it because the wheelchair, they just sort of look at it. It's been said, you just see it as a piece of sports equipment, whether it's like a hockey stick or a pair of football boots. Just come and have a go, see what it's like.